She never thought she'd touch a car like that, let alone steal it. But when her little girl's life was slipping away, rules, jobs, billionaires, none of that mattered anymore. Picture this: a young maid, barely holding it together, scooping up her unconscious daughter, racing through polished marble floors, tearing open the secret panel her boss thought no one knew about, and grabbing the keys to his pride and joy. A fire-red Ferrari that cost more than she'd make in 10 lifetimes. Her name was Elena Cruz. A single mom, 27, juggling 2 cleaning jobs in downtown Chicago, always invisible, always careful not to step out of line. The kind of woman you'd pass in the lobby and forget 5 seconds later. But that morning, everything changed. Her daughter Sophia had been quiet all morning, too quiet. Normally, that little girl would be bouncing, asking questions about everything. But at the penthouse where Elena scrubbed and polished Sophia just sat curled up on the couch, pale, glassy-eyed, like her tiny body had suddenly run out of batteries. Elena's stomach knotted tighter with every shallow breath she saw. She tried to convince herself it was just a bug, maybe she was tired. But when Sophia collapsed onto the floor, head hitting marble with a sickening thump, Elena knew this was life or death. "Baby, wake up, please. Don't do this to me," she whispered, her voice cracking as she lifted her limp child into her arms. No time for an ambulance, no time for permission, just raw instinct. She bolted to the study, slammed her hand against the bookshelf panel she'd seen her boss use once, and when the keys dropped into her hand, she didn't think twice. Down in the garage, the headlights of that Ferrari blinked like they were daring her. "Hold on, Sophia. Mama's here," she whispered, buckling her child into the leather seat that smelled like money and power. She slid behind the wheel, heart-pounding tears burning her eyes, and when the engine roared to life, it was like a beast she had no right to command. She didn't know how to drive a Ferrari, but she knew how to drive. And right then, that was enough. Tires screamed, the red blur shot into daylight, and a maid no one ever noticed was suddenly Chicago's most unlikely outlaw. Across town in a high-rise boardroom, Adrian Cole, cold as steel billionaire owner of half the skyline, was lecturing his executives about margins and deadlines. His phone buzzed. Security alert, Ferrari, in motion, unauthorized driver. He tapped the feed, and there she was, his maid clutching something in her arms, sliding into his car like a thief in the night. "What the hell?" he muttered, jaw tightening. Without thinking, he barked into his phone. "Call the police. Report it stolen." His executives froze. Nobody dared breathe when Adrian's voice carried that edge. In his head, it was betrayal. He'd given her a job, a paycheck, access to his sanctuary, and she repaid him by stealing his most prized possession. But as that Ferrari flew through red lights, dodging buses and horns, Elena wasn't thinking about him or about the law. She was whispering to the little girl slumped beside her. "Just a few more minutes, baby. Just stay with me." The engine howled, the city blurred, and by some miracle she skidded into the emergency bay of St. Catherine's Hospital. Nurses swarmed instantly. Elena yanked open the door, lifted her daughter into her arms, sobbing. She collapsed. "Please, please help her." The nurses moved fast, laying Sophia on a stretcher, masks and wires everywhere. For the first time that morning, Elena let go and almost collapsed herself. But before she could breathe, a voice thundered from behind her. "Step aside, ma'am." 2 officers, hands near their holsters, eyes locked on the Ferrari, half parked on the curb. "That's the stolen vehicle," one said. "License plate matches." "Did you take it?" Elena's heart nearly exploded. "Yes, I borrowed it. I work for Mr. Cole. Please." "My daughter was dying. I didn't know what else to do." So you admit you took it without permission? Yes, but please look at her. She needs me. Tears streaked down her face, her voice raw. The cops exchanged glances. Protocol said cuffs. Humanity said pause. And right then a nurse rushed back out. She's the mother. This child wouldn't have made it if she'd waited another 20 minutes. The cops froze, their hard edges softening. Elena's knees buckled. For the first time in hours, she let out a sob that was more relief than fear. Sophia was alive, fragile but alive. Back in his office, Adrian Cole got the update. Sir, the car's at St. Catherine's. The maid didn't steal it to sell it. She was saving her daughter. For the first time in years, Adrian's mind went blank. He poured a drink, then set it back down untouched. She wasn't a thief. She wasn't invisible. She was a mother, and he had nearly destroyed her for doing what any parent would have done. Hours later, Elena sat hunched in a plastic chair outside the pediatric ICU. Her hands clenched tight. She hadn't eaten, hadn't slept, didn't know if she still had a job or if she was about to be arrested. The only thing she knew was her little girl was breathing again. The sliding doors hissed open, and suddenly the air shifted. Shoes clicked on the linoleum. Silence fell around the waiting room. Elena looked up, and there he was. Adrian Cole, the man who terrified boardrooms, standing, uncertain coat still draped over his shoulders. Eyes not hard this time, but human. She shot to her feet. Mr. Cole. I please, he cut in, raising a hand. His voice was softer than she'd ever heard. Don't. I saw the footage. I saw you run with her. I thought you were stealing from me, but you were just trying to save her. I called the police on you, and I'm sorry. She swallowed hard, shaking her head. I didn't know what else to do. She collapsed. I thought she was dying. I understand now, Adrian said, looking down ashamed. You won't have to worry about the bills, the hospital, everything she needs. It's taken care of. Elena blinked, speechless, tears spilling over. I don't know how to thank you. You already have, he said quietly, by reminding me what matters. The days that followed didn't feel real. Adrian kept showing up not in suits with assistants trailing him, but alone in sweaters carrying juice boxes or coloring books. He learned the beeps of Sophia's glucose monitor sat cross-legged on the floor while she braided his hair with neon rubber bands, listened to her chatter about cartoons. The billionaire who once valued only numbers now spent hours helping a 5-year-old fit puzzle pieces together. Elena watched from the corner, torn between disbelief and a warmth she hadn't felt in years. Sophia whispered one night, "He's kind, Mama. I like him." And Elena found herself whispering back, "Yeah, I think I do too." By the time Sophia was discharged, she was laughing again, cheeks glowing, clutching a stuffed elephant Adrian had brought her. Outside the hospital, a black SUV, not a Ferrari, waited. Adrian held the door, glanced at Elena, and said, "You shouldn't go back to scrubbing penthouses just to collapse every night. You're stronger than that, smarter. There's a position at my company assistant in my office, with benefits, flexible hours, insurance, for you, for her." She stared at him stunned. "Are you serious? You know who I am. I know you're not invisible, not anymore." Weeks later, Elena stood on the balcony of her new 2-bedroom apartment, the city lights twinkling like they'd finally noticed her. Behind her, laughter spilled out, Adrian helping Sophia build a toy robot, the sound of family in a place that used to be nothing but silence. Elena sipped her tea, remembering the balcony she once stood on, terrified, clutching a child she thought she might lose. Now hope filled her chest instead of fear. Life had flipped not because of charity, but because two people saw each other clearly for the first time, a maid who was never just a maid and a billionaire who finally remembered what it meant to be human. So let me ask you, if you were in Elena's shoes, would you have taken that Ferrari? Was she wrong? Or was it the only right choice a mother could make? Drop your thoughts below. Tell me if you believe rules should bend when a life is on the line. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that'll make you question everything you thought you knew.